Welcome to the podcast, Claim Your Excellent Life, with your host, Suzanne Kellner-Zinck, where she helps professional women learn how to be happy. Suzanne will teach you how to do this through building high self-esteem, relaxation and calm, and good, healthy relationships. Tune in every week as Suzanne shares effective strategies to help you claim your excellent life with happiness techniques, self-esteem building exercises, relationship tips, and relaxation information. Make sure to head over to dawningvisions.com to subscribe to the newsletter to receive your keys to happiness, as well as other useful free gifts for you.
In this episode of Claim Your Excellent Life, we're going to talk about your rights as a patient. This came up because I had to write a paper on it for my course. And I learned a whole lot of pretty interesting things, actually. It's rather important that you know your rights. And I don't believe that most people do, especially those people who aren't really used to dealing with medical providers, who look at them as if they're gods, or they know everything. However, the Nuremberg trials after World War II put into effect this idea of informed consent, which is very important because if you recall your World War II history, especially during Hitler's time, they did a lot of experimentation on the prisoners. Didn't matter what age they were, how young they were, if there were things that they wanted to do, they did it. So informed consent really is your way of knowing what it is that you're being diagnosed with, what the various treatments are, the risk of each of these treatments, so that you have alternatives to choose from, and your right to refuse any treatment that you do not feel you would like to have. All very important. And it's based on the idea that you have autonomy, which means that you have the right to decide what is done to your body. Nobody has the right to do any treatments to you that you have not signed off on a written informed consent form with those areas that I just covered without your knowledge. However, there is one exception, and that is if you are unconscious and you need to have the medical care in order to live. Otherwise, it's up to you to accept or reject any treatments. And that includes medications. You know, there's this whole concept of statin drugs for lowering cholesterol, and at least the reading that I've been doing of late, they haven't really proved to be very effective at all, quite frankly, and they cause a lot of problems. One of my friend was on a statin drug, and he was having muscular issues at the top of his foot, and it made it really hard for him to walk. When he stopped taking these things, it went away. My suggestion: omega-3, 6, and 9s. Vitamin Shop. Go buy them. Because there's things that we can do in order to help ourselves. Nutritionally speaking, Hippocrates said, let your food be your medicine, and there was a lot of reality to that. Every organism that I know needs appropriate nutrition in order to survive. Not 1,000,001 medications to make up for some, need to prescribe drugs that aren't necessary in many cases, let's say. In any case, the point is that you have the right to accept or reject treatments. And you have the right to know why you are being treated with what you're being treated with and how it's going to affect you. so that you can make an informed decision, which is why they call it informed consent. You also have the right to be treated respectfully and without harm being done, which at times can be a little difficult because, quite frankly, medications do cause harm over time. Your body can only detoxify these medications for so long. Your liver and kidneys start having issues in that area, and I know I suffered from that particular thing after years and years on medication. And thankfully now I no longer need any of that stuff. But these are the facts that we need to understand when we go into these things. Surgical procedures, they all have risk involved because you're being cut open. So you can have infections, and hospitals are the best places in the world to get infections because you have infectious people there. And, if the cut isn't made the right way, things can happen that maybe you don't want to have happen. So again, weigh the risk and the benefits before you make a decision to have anything done to your body. For me, I've always made the decision to have problematic areas cut out of my body when necessary. That goes for fibroids, which caused a hell of a lot of pain, and they were totally gross with the bleeding. So that was a great idea. I just had cataract surgery. One eye took 10 minutes, the other 15 minutes. That was rather painless. And just a little tiny bit of irritation afterwards. Nothing terrible. Definitely worth being able to see again. And I've had some other things that needed to be contended with over the years. You do what you have to do, but you do it knowing what the procedure is and the risks that are going to be taken. So be informed. Never allow a doctor or a nurse to talk you into something that you are not aligned with. Ever. They really do not have that right. Unless you are psychotically in danger to yourself or somebody else. That would really be the only reason that a medical professional would have to force you to take some kind of medication. Other than that, it's your choice. And if you're a person who's kind of young and you need to have replacement surgery, hips, knees, that kind of stuff, look into how many years they're going to last before you go ahead with it. If you're in a whole lot of pain, of course, you may want to go ahead with it. But learn what you need to learn before you make that decision, because you want to make sure it's the correct decision for you. And those of you who are into cosmetic surgery, even more so. A lot of people go into cosmetic surgery thinking it's going to make them feel a whole lot better. But the research actually states that unless you're already feeling good about yourself, emotionally speaking, more often than not, changing the size of your nose or making your breasts bigger or whatever it is that one chooses to do with their body is not going to necessarily make a person feel better about themselves. It comes from the inside out. So be mindful of that before you go under the knife. And also realize that, again, with cosmetic surgery, what gravity created once, it will create again. I was just reading an article about someone who had breast implants put in, and 10 years or so is how long they last. And then you're supposed to have them replaced. If you have sagging breasts and you have them picked up, well, guess what? Gravity's going to pull them down again, and you're going to have that operation again. So think about whether or not that's something you really want to put your body through before you go ahead and do it. Some surgeons have more integrity than other surgeons in the world of cosmetic surgery, so they will inform you of these things before you go ahead. Hopefully you choose one. He'll ask the right questions before you go ahead. In any case, always remember that you have this thing called informed consent and that you have a right to know exactly what's going to be done to you, why it's going to be done, the risk involved in having it done, alternatives to that procedure that is being advised, and your right to either accept it or reject it. As always, I thank you for spending your time with me. Till next time. If you have enjoyed Claim Your Excellent Life, we'd really appreciate it if you go over to iTunes and give it a 5-star review. If you have found Claim Your Excellent Life to be helpful to you, and maybe even life-altering with the information that we have shared here, and to allow us to continue this work, which we really do enjoy doing for you, you can sponsor us at patreon.com. That's spelled P as in Paul, ATREON as in Nancy.com. Again, that's P as in Paul, AT as in Tom, REON as in Nancy.com, where there's a few different levels of sponsorship that you can choose from to help us to continue doing this work. We thank you for any assistance that you are able to give us.
Thank you for listening to the podcast, Claim Your Excellent Life, with your host, Suzanne Kellner-Zinck, where she helps professional women learn how to be happy. Suzanne teaches you how to do this through building high self-esteem, relaxation and calm, and good, healthy relationships. Tune in every week as Suzanne shares effective strategies to help you claim your excellent life with happiness techniques, self-esteem building exercises, relationship tips, and relaxation information. Make sure to head over to dawningvisions.com to subscribe to the newsletter to receive your keys to happiness, as well as other useful free gifts for you.